At Canic Firearms, we believe in the power of freedom. Freedom to protect, to defend, and to live confidently. That's why we're proud to introduce the Canic Mete MC9L and MC9LS, precision-engineered pistols designed for today's American. Whether you're carrying concealed or out at the range, the MC9L and MC9LS are built for accuracy, durability, and comfort. These pistols are the perfect blend of performance and dependability, because freedom isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Canic, superior firearms.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. All out of public.
Plane has crashed into the World Trade
And I'm back.
in New York.
I'm not sure I know exactly what kind of form I'm back, but I'm relatively back. This is a brand new experiment. It's a new day, a new time. I can't tell you the amount of stuff that's had to go on in order for me to come back in a year and a half, almost 2 years. It's relatively incredible. I pale to think of the possibilities here. Anyway, tonight, welcome back. I should have 3 cameras, but I don't. I only have 1 camera. That's yet to be figured out. And tonight, I don't know how long it's going to be. It could be a half hour. It could be a full hour. It could be 2 hours. I just don't know. We'll play it by ear. But in one form or another, I am back. And tonight's guest, I am privileged to have the act you've known for all these years. No, it's not Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It's my very good friend and conservative wunderkind. That would be Lonnie Poindexter. Now, Lonnie happens to be in California, and he's going to be over the teleolophone, one each, which is right over here, in my brand new studio on SHR Media. We'll get into the whole where you can find me, what the hell happened, what were you doing for 2 years, you lazy butt, that kind of stuff. And, of course, we'll get into some buttery politics, all of that.
Is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
And boy, is that ever true. So, Lonnie Poindexter, do I have you here on the air? And apparently that would be no. Lonnie, do I have you here? Let's try you again. Uno más.
Sorry I missed your call. Your name, telephone number, and a brief message, and I'll get back to you at my earliest convenience. Thank you.
This is going to make me cry. I have some stories for tonight, and I can tell stories. So, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to call Lonnie. In the meantime, listen to some background music or something like that. This is the kind of stuff that everybody hates that occasionally occurs in radio that I try to make sure doesn't occur.
Sorry I missed your call. At the tone, please leave your name, telephone number.
Uno más. There's Inside Baseball, and then there's Inside BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Let's see how this works. I know I've got the right number. I know my Bluetooth works. I know Lonnie's there because I just talked to him.
Sorry I missed your call.
Lonnie, you're killing me, Lonnie. Let me try it just a couple more times, just to be sure.
Sorry I missed your call. At the tone.
In any event, we can talk about a few things, some stuff that's occurred in the past. And it's been a long way since my last show, which featured Ken McClinton. And that was on March 22nd of 2022. And it's 2024. So that's been a year and a half, I'd say. And when you had as many people on as I had at one point, when things were really hopping, and I was getting good analytics from an individual who should know those things and is very well versed in analytics. I had anywhere from 2 to 300,000 people. And what kills the show is lack of consistency. And so there are people that have never seen my show that are out there. And the people that I could count on as being standard audience members, they've all gone. If you have no consistency, you're not going to have a consistent radio show. And now Lonnie just sent me a text saying that his phone, for whatever reason, is now screwing up. And that may, in fact, be true.
Sorry I missed your call.
Yeah, it's the voicemail. Lonnie, if you can hear me, here, let me just tell him, sir, you me. Here's my number. And let's see if that works. Because trying to call him is not working at all. In any event, this is a work in progress. And a lot of things happened between my last show and between now, not least of which was moving from California, always spelled with a K, 3 states away to a free state, which I shall not enumerate just yet. I'm very far north now. I'm about 90 miles south of Canada. I have not yet ventured into Canada. I went there once in the 90s. It was nice. So I'm actually in a free state. I have left and divested myself completely of California. That was one of the most terrifyingly difficult things to do that I've ever done in my life, because at that point, Mrs. BZ and I got married in 2007. And since then, we had consistently all along, until we moved, 2 complete and separate households. We had not yet merged our households, which you would think, oh, that's going to be a relatively easy thing, except she had 40 plus years of house to merge. And I had been up in the Sierra Nevadas in my BZ area, 4,000 foot level in the Sierra Nevada mountains, just below Blue Canyon and off of Interstate 80. I'd been up there since 1993. So I had before that, and since 1993, household stuff that I'd managed to hold on to for that many years. And I have to admit, it was an absolutely Beautiful, beautiful cabin. I miss the cabin. In the winter, I would get wonderful snow, incredible snow, and I had a fireplace, a stove, which I would stoke with wood. It was great to have it, watch it, to experience the snow outside falling in the winter and the absolute quiet, and then the crackling fire in the stove itself every winter until
At Canic Firearms, we believe in the power of freedom. Freedom to protect, to defend, and to live confidently. That's why we're proud to introduce the Canic Mete MC9L and MC9LS, precision engineered pistols designed for today's American. Whether you're carrying concealed or out at the range, the MC9L and MC9LS are built for accuracy, durability, and comfort. These pistols are the perfect blend of performance and dependability because freedom isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Canic, superior firearms.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
California began to scare the living shit out of me. And that and so many other items of interest or disinterest all came to sort of a perfect storm head. And it looks like we're not going to be able to. I'll try it. So it looks like we're not going to have Lonnie on tonight. So what I will be doing is essentially cutting this fairly short, looking at it in retrospect, and then
Sorry I missed your call.
Yeah. Okay. So much for that. So this is going to be a relatively short show, but I am at least going to explain what happened and how I got here. And then I want to give a shout out to a very good friend of mine. So I shan't think that this will go much more than about 10 or 15 minutes or so. But anyway, I moved from California to my new free state. In the process of doing that, we had to combine two households, two complete households. And that was extremely difficult. We had to purge so much, move everything at the last second. This began in 2021 and only then concluded in 2023 when we finalized our move last year in April. And so besides all the other things that we have had to do, merging both of those households, trying to coordinate the sales of the homes, people buying the homes, selling the homes, realtors, moving. This was at a time when interest rates were fabulous. They were fabulously low. I got a 2.1% interest on my loan for my new house, which was built in 2007. So it was built when I got married to Mrs. BZ. 2.1%, you can't beat that. On the other hand, that's when home prices were fairly exorbitant. But with the sales of both houses, we were able to get in here for, if I told you what my mortgage was and how quickly that thing will be paid off, you wouldn't be happy with. But we took all of that, California always spelled it with a K money, put it together in a free state. And then we ended up getting, number one, you couldn't get moving vans. Number two, you couldn't get people to move you. Number three, you could get loans, but number four, you really couldn't get houses because the housing market was packed. I can distinctly remember that within the first week that we were looking for homes, we lost probably 10 to 15 houses. We lost a house within about 2 or 3 minutes, according to our realtor. They were taking, some people were demanding cash offers. Demanding cash offers. Uh-oh, do I have Lonnie? Let's see if this is going through. Um, don't see it. Lonnie said, "Give me a call back." So let's try it once more with vigor, if we can.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available.
Okay. So much for that. In any off Hayden Mall, it was an incredibly difficult time, and the other thing is we're not in our 20s anymore. I'm certainly not in my 20s. You can see that life for me is hard, rugged, fat, hairy. And we finally got our act together. When we were moving here, that was also at a time where at a point in time when we were desperate for places to put our stuff, storage facilities, you couldn't get them. We discovered that storage facilities were backed up literally for months. And so throughout that length of time, we found a little teeny storage area. We put some of our I drove from Sacramento, California, where my wife used to live, to the free state in which we live now, which that is a 900-mile trip. I drove that probably 7 times just by myself, one way, nonstop. Now, the first time we did it, we stopped overnight in a place, and we discovered, okay, it's really nice, but it's wasting your time, and it's wasting your money. All in all, and I can tell you about this as we go on during the show, later shows, that we finally got enough storage. I have lost things in storage. We have 5 storage facilities for all the stuff that we didn't have the time to go through. We've just now sifted through a sufficient amount to realize that we're missing a lot of stuff. I don't think it was thefted necessarily. We just haven't found it. It's packed in boxes back there somewhere. And so in our 7th decade, me in my 7th decade, not Mrs. BZ. She's the young person in this group. We went through trials and tribulations. It's so much easier. Let me tell you, it's so much easier moving when you're in your 20s or 30s than it is when you're in your 70s. I'll just leave it right there on your doorstep. In any event, bringing back the show was not and could not have been a priority. There are so many things that I have yet to do, and there's been so much hate and discontent with me and technology, which should come as zero surprise between now and then, that just in preparation for getting this show to be able to go and work tonight, was if I had hair on the top of my head, and after tonight, that hair on the top of my head wouldn't be there, which is why I always wear a hat. So this is the beginning of a series of a number of shows. I'm back, as it were. I'm on a streaming. I'm not even sure I've got the vernacular correct. I'm creating the show in something called StreamYard. the end user is watching this on a video system called Rumble. I'm just now learning StreamYard, and one of the first things that I'm discovering, of course, is when I had Sean at SHR downtown, he made stuff work, and I am not an individual, which is why it's taken so long for me to get going. As of course, this is going to be a work in progress. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 huge screens. I have a 49-inch screen that I'm looking at, which is right here, which was purchased for me for Christmas by my wife, a Samsung I don't even know what this thing is called. It's huge. I'll take a picture of it and put it out in media. My goal is to be back Thursday nights on Rumble. At this point, I don't think I know how to make it run on Spreaker. There are so many things that I have yet to assemble. I do have this beautiful studio, which I'm going to outfit and festoon with a lot of stuff. I'd been speaking to Mike Fitzpatrick, and I told him with tears in my eye that I had already lost $2,000 Rode Pro.
At Canic Firearms, we believe in the power of freedom. Freedom to protect, to defend, and to live confidently. That's why we're proud to introduce the Canic Mete MC9L and MC9LS. Precision-engineered pistols designed for today's American. Whether you're carrying concealed or out at the range, the MC9L and MC9LS are built for accuracy, durability, and comfort. These pistols are the perfect blend of performance and dependability because freedom isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Canic, superior firearms.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Procaster boards like this, kind of like the Arrakis that do all the mixing and the input. Those are good. Can't find those. I'm sure they're in there somewhere. The Bobcat from the Saloon is in the house. The Bobcat overwatches the living room. I also found another. Yeah. I mean, I know where it is, sort of. I think that will be eventually, that will be behind me so that people can see the Bobcat of the real Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. When I get this puppy going, if you can just spread the word, I will say this. Rumble has told me right now that, son, because you're a fly speck, you're absolutely insignificant. We're not going to give you a URL until 20 people have subscribed. So if in the process of listening to this, you happen to come across Rumble, hit whatever Rumble requires, either a thumbs up for the show or a subscribe. I think you can subscribe to it. And if I get 20 subscribers, then I can get not only my own custom URL, which probably will say something very similar to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show or BZ's Saloon, and I'll get a prize toy out of any Cracker Jack package. That having been said, and before I sign off, one thing. I retired in 2016. I kind of bounced around for a while the rest of 2016 and decided after I'd spoken and met SHR Media, Sackheads Radio Media, It would be fun because I'd been in radio before. It would be fun to get back to radio, only it's not really radio per se anymore. It's internet broadcasting, internet radio, podcast. But I said, I would not really rather podcast, which is pre-recording something and then editing it all together so that it's perfect, because I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. I just like doing things by the seat of my pants in a spirited fashion. And so I wanted to do it live. I didn't want to do to me, a stupid podcast. I'd rather be stupid live, which I am readily accomplishing, I should say, and emphasize. But the guy who gave me, before I had my show, before SHR trusted me with my own show on their network, a guy who let me come on his show and appear as a guest on his numerous times was a very nice gentleman by the name of Ken McClinton, whom I 27 at the Freedom Fest in Las Vegas, which is a conglomeration, a big convention kind of thing, for at least a week in Las Vegas. It was at Planet Hollywood, if I'm not mistaken, the first time. And I met Ken McClinton there. It's a gathering of thoughtful libertarians. Tons of politicos speak here, other large libertarians, and some who even have a sense of diet control go there. And that's where I met Kenton McClinton, a wonderful, wonderful guy, and I met his wife. He let me appear on TV any number of times to be able to Bigfoot his show. I mentioned Ken insofar he was one of the first guests on the show when I first started in January of 2017, and he was my very last guest on my show in Sacramento at the old SHR Media Studios on March 22nd of 2022. I would love to have been able to have Lonnie Poindexter and Ken McClinton on my show tonight, except that now I'm asking for your prayers. Ken McClinton, within the span of 2 weeks, I discovered had 2 strokes. And for an individual who makes their lives speaking and being on television, this is essentially the worst circle of hell other than death that you can imagine for someone who makes their living, and Ken has to make his living at that. I'm just putzing around. This is sort of a hobby for me. I do this because it's fun. I don't monetize it. I don't care about the money. Ken makes money. And so Ken, having had 2 strokes, I didn't wanna bother him. He's had a massive outpouring of people. Ken is an honestly good. If you want to listen to him, um, go to bloviazeppelin.net, which is my blog. There's a little field in there that you can fill in to search for things. Put in his name, Ken McClinton, McClenton, and it will tell you many things that you need to know about Ken, what he sounds like, what he looks like. He's a wonderful conservative, lives in Washington, D.C. I'm pretty sad about that. But Ken is the guy that introduced me to internet podcasting and streaming. And Ken has been struck down. I don't know anything more than that, except that he had a series of strokes. And unfortunately, on December 19th, I don't know if he was aware, but I watched his December 19th show. I think that was his last show. And you could readily tell that he had had a stroke. And this is the worst thing you can possibly do to somebody who makes their living being on television, being on a screen, big or small, and using your voice. And I would not want to be in Ken's shoes. It would be the worst thing that I could imagine besides death for what we do. Ken is a wonderful guy, a wonderful conservative, a wonderful father. He lost his daughter to a gangland shooting. She was killed in D.C. She was a journalist. His daughter was taken a few years ago, 5, 6 years ago, something like that. Of course, the suspect was never found, and no one would naturally talk to DC cops. That should come as no surprise. From that, I do not know how I possibly could have dealt with something like that. Ken had no choice, he had to. Now, anybody knows who's a parent or who is just remotely self-aware that anytime a relationship loses a child, a husband and a wife, probably 75% plus to 90% of the time, those marriages don't survive. There's blame enough to go around, finger pointing, etc. That did and didn't occur with Ken and his wife. They stuck together. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Ken is a wonderful conservative and a wonderful, great, powerful voice for conservatives all around the nation, but for urban areas, DC, etc. And Ken had a stroke. So before I say good night, I want to say this. If you believe in God, I do. Before you go to sleep tonight, think of Ken. And if you have a little bit of room at the beginning or the end of your prayer, please, if you will, throw Ken for me. And let's throw some prayers his way. And let's see if maybe Ken, I know nothing further than that. He is the last person that I would want to disturb at this point right now. And the person who is kind of an intermediary for him is his secretary and producer, Bonnie Williams. And she's taken the information, and she said that he'll get back when he can. She doesn't know, and I don't wanna bug him. If he wants to talk to me, he'll talk to me. If he doesn't, he's got bigger things going on in his life than a need to talk to me. But if you can, throw some prayers his way, 'cause, I will wager he is one guy that definitely can use it. Thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate it. It's a work in progress. I hope to come back to my wonderful, great numbers. I hope I get my audience back, my standard people, and I'm assuming that I'm gonna have a lot of new people coming around. My ideal goal is this. I'd like to first start the show Thursday nights, a late night conservative talk radio show, live, um, just Thursdays, one night a week for about 2 hours, and try to get some kind of consistency behind that. If I expand then to Tuesday and Thursday like I used to, I'd also eventually like to bring back kind of the zany and wacky chat show on Thursdays, which I did with myself and Sackhead's Clint. Clint can't do it anymore. I gotta find a second individual who's willing to be wacky and zany like Clint. We just had that great kind of nice interplay that I very much enjoyed. And the other thing that I'd like to do besides the chat show and the Saloon is I'd like to begin a paranormal, unusual type show speaking about UFOs, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, things that people have seen that perhaps they can't quite put their finger on. That stuff is out there. And where I am in the far north of these United States in a free state, I would wager that this state, for example, is, despite its relatively dinky size, it is kind of a hot spot for UFOs, and it's kind of a hot spot for Sasquatch. And then finally, the other thing I'd like to do is get into the politics of this state and maybe make a political show just for that state. So I have some things in mind that I'd like to do in terms of coming back. The studio right here is itself a work in progress. The stuff that I used to have in the old studio, not on the walls. I'm going to curate this rather carefully before I put things up. And then eventually I hope to get back, have a lot of guests like I used to, a lot of authors like I used to, and get a ton of new guests who are conservative, who are not leftists, because leftists have enough of their own crap. I want to feature people who are speaking about things that generally, like I do, you won't hear about or are being crushed. But here's the one thing that I want to leave you with, besides prayers for Ken. 2024 is going to be a shit show, and I believe it's going to be very illuminating. And I think a number of things will begin to become explained. The curtains will be pulled back on a number of areas. And don't, as a conservative, don't for a moment give up and throw in the towel. I threw in the towel to California because it was literally stealing money from my wallet. And though I have a fair amount of buckage, I don't have that much that I want to give to leftists anymore. So I slammed that door because I'm not funding that crap. I said enough. And here's the deal. I think there are more and more people, just like we're beginning to see now, who are recognizing that if they don't speak up and disobey and pushback is a requisite. That if you don't do that, you're going to get steamrolled. And conservatives in the GOP, not one and the same, by the way, have been getting steamrolled. Well, have you noticed? Have you noticed? The worm is turning. And there is starting to be pushback. And you'll discover it's at local levels. It's at small town levels. It's at county levels. It's at city levels. It's even at leftist urban rat cage levels, although not much. And a national level. All is not lost. And with you in the fight, along with me, I believe that we will triumph because, as I've said for quite some time, and now it can't be more clear. It cannot be more clear. This just isn't politics, although certainly it is. Because politics is always interested in you. It's not just about the GOP versus Democrats. It's not just about leftists versus the right. It is, in my opinion, much more fundamental than that. It's about the insane versus the cogent, and it's about good versus evil. And I don't think I can make it any more clear than that. This is all about good versus evil, and that's going to kind of be my theme, to try to illuminate you in this journey that you and I are going to take together. We're going to do this. So thanks for being with me tonight. Greatly appreciated. Next week, I'll be back. Next Thursday, 8 p.m. on Rumble. If I can get 20 subscribers, I might actually have a URL that you can find, that you can enter into your favorite search engine and discover my locazione. Thanks for being here. Thanks for searching for me. And I hope that you'll want to come back, spread the news, and you and I will talk about tons of things. I'll have a chat room just for you, where you can have your opinions strewn about. It will be, I'm in the process of recreating my sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room with true sofas of true Corinthian finest for the people in my chat. Thanks for being here. God bless you all. God bless America. Good night. Prayers for my friend Ken McClinton. Thank you.
Quiet time now. Get some sleep.
Everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Dad. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night. And good luck.
At Canic Firearms, we believe in the power of freedom. Freedom to protect, to defend, and to live confidently. That's why we're proud to introduce the Canic Mete MC9L and MC9LS, precision-engineered pistols designed for today's American. Whether you're carrying concealed or out at the range, the MC9L and MC9LS are built for accuracy, durability, and comfort. These pistols are the perfect blend of performance and dependability, because freedom isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. Canic, superior firearms.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.